Afternoon, evening, morning. Now, hopefully, I can get a bit of energy going. I know it's coming to the end of the day. I will need Steve's password. Doesn't have? Okay, I'll let you do that. Yeah? Before we get going. So, as Steve said, been traveling around the world quite a bit. So, but we're based here in Sydney. I am an Englishman. Moved here many, many years ago to go surfing. And now I'm too busy working to surf anymore. But forever grateful for the move. Oh, there we go. What do you know? Okay. So, I'm going to chat to you today about something that many of you will know and understand and do, otherwise you wouldn't have got this far in business, I'm sure. But we're going to talk about customer delight. I'll explain a bit more about what this means, but we're going to look at customer delight as a way to systematically grow your business. So, I run a tech company. We build products. And obviously, everything we do is about growth. We sell to customers all around the world, and we've used delight probably as the most successful way to grow our business. I'm going to tell you a bit about how we've done it. I'm going to tell you a bit about how other businesses around the world have done it as well, and then more importantly, we're going to look at how you guys can do it. So we're going to talk through what this is, what it means, and then how you can implement it into your business. So I've got you for 75 minutes. Again, hopefully I can keep the energy up. If it starts to fail, give me a shout, we'll go get a beer. But let's see what we can do for the moment. So, like I say, we're going to walk through it, and then we're going to go through these 5 steps, and I want you guys to workshop a little bit of this, and hopefully leave this room, and customer delight is more of an ethos. But I'm hoping you can leave this room and just start thinking about it a little bit more each day, and I guarantee it will help you grow your business like from tomorrow. So in terms of me, we actually ran another business called Verbate. So I won't go into the details of it, but it's an agency, essentially. So we're a services business. We have some product. And we're born in Australia, but all of our clients ended up being in New York and London because we deal with agencies. Not by design, but it started to happen. And we're like, OK, well, this is a thing. Let's just go with it. And we have this brand and this culture that you'll see kind of come through when I talk through what we do, where we're quite fun. We enjoy work. It's 80% of our lives. So it's not supposed to be a job. It's supposed to be a lifestyle. And because of that, we always take these thoughts to delight our customers. So we did this little thing a long time ago where I live in Sydney, and I would take a boat to work in the city, and we'd have, at night time, people would sign up to our business from Ogilvy in London or Saatchi in New York. And obviously, we'd be asleep when that happened. And so what would happen is, by the time we got back to them and tried to engage with them, we'd lose quite a few of those sign-ups and those leads, and they were very important to us. It was agencies, it was all about relationships, and yet we're on the other side of the world. So I was like, you know what? Let's try something different. Let's send every single person who signs up a video rather than the automated email that we would have go out. And I'm going to send them a video personally. So I'll be on the ferry in the morning. I've obviously got quite a lot of hair, and I'll be there. I'd just get my camera and do a video for John from Ogilvy. The wind would be blowing in my hair. You probably couldn't understand much of what I said, but I'd be doing the video. I'd show them the Opera House, and I'd say, you signed up. We work with these clients that you already work with. I am in Sydney, but we'll be in London in 6 weeks' time. Would love to just come and talk to you and the team. And the first piece of communication they get off us was this crazy guy on this boat sending them this video. We pop it into a little email, put it on YouTube, send it off, and we tripled the response rate like the next day. And people come back and they go, I didn't really understand what you said. It was hilarious. You should come in and see us. Yeah, you didn't think about it at the time, but I was like, why is this working? And all it was like a moment of happiness in their life. It was something quite different. And they were like, you know what? If this guy comes in, we're going to enjoy it anyway. And so we started to triple, the amount of responses we got. It started to work for us. And then one day, one of those clients said to me, can we use this thing, this video thing? And I was like, sure. Looks terrible. It was like a little hack we did. And we gave them it, and they used it. And then a few weeks later, they'd been sending them out to their customers, and one of their customers came to me and they were like, can we sign up for this as well and use it too? And this wasn't a product, it wasn't anything yet. And then another one of their customers came to us and said, hey, we got this video, we want to use it as well. And so this is one of these happy coincidences where people started coming to us and saying, can we use this as well? They had personality, and so we built a little product they could use. We only launched it last January, and then it just started growing exponentially. And obviously everyone who would use it would send these videos out, and then more people would come and sign up, and it would just start going. Yeah, and everyone says to you, only ever do one business, like focus. Don't launch a second business. We did. It's been hard, but it was the right decision. It was terrifying, but it kind of worked. And so now we have a team in London, the States. We're still headquartered here in Australia. We have customers all over the world, but we still, the whole product was supposed to be a moment of delight. Yeah, and so because of that, the way we now grow that business is through other moments of delight. So I'll chat to you about how this works, but we live and breathe this every day, and it's worked for us. It works. Many other companies do this around the world. They might not call it delight, but I'll walk you through how they do it as well. I also have Simon here, who is, I'm going to call him out down the back. So Simon is quite different. He's a dev. He is the guy who sits in the back and builds beautiful code. He's a Wollongong guy as well. So he's also a product gun. So despite what I say here, if you ever have any product questions or want to understand a bit more, he's got a very different mind to me. Grab him and talk to him. He's a great guy. Like I say, he's been in this longer than I have. He was doing coding even before Malcolm Turnbull invented the internet, way back in the day. So if you have product questions outside of everything we talk about today, feel free to grab him over a beer maybe later on. So what is customer delight? By the way, you'll see a lot of bear stuff. This is my team. We're very big on brand. It works for us. I'm not saying you have to go and do this, but we use the bit in the presentation. So customer delight is a systematic and intentional approach to delighting customers for 3 reasons. So you want to increase engagement, you want to increase loyalty, and you want to increase, most importantly, what we call advocacy. Now, I'll explain what each of those 3 things are, but there's kind of 6 questions you can ask to see if something is a delight moment. So we say, look, it produces a wow reaction and a talking point. Yeah, like this is what delight is. Yeah, it's not just your everyday business as usual, if you like. It has to appear spontaneous and it's generally unexpected. And the important word here is appear, and I'll come back to why that's important. It's got to make a customer feel valued. So for delight to work, I really think you have to care about customers. So if you're just the sales guy with a wizard headset, it's probably not going to work for you. But if you do care about your customers, which most of us in this room will do, then this is something to think about. So it's got to be genuine. If it's not genuine, it won't work. It'll fall apart. They generally contain a personal touch. This is the kind of one-to-one thing. And here's the crux. It has to be repeatable and scalable. So we all run businesses here. There's no point doing anything that you can't put a process around and start to repeat and start to get better and better and better at. Everything you do in business, whether it's sales, whether it's support, whether it's operations, always think about how you can repeat and get better and scale it up, because we all want to grow. And then finally, like everything in business as well, it needs to generate a measurable return on investment. And we can measure this. So again, no point doing anything if it doesn't grow the business. But why should you do this, and why now? I mean, this guy knows a thing or two about business, Warren Buffett. Delight's not a new thing. He always stood by this, and he'd always say, point any lipstick or your mirror or whatever, any business with delighted customers has a sales team that is out there working for them every single day. And this is the advocacy part. You don't see them, but they're talking to people all of the time. Yeah, and he will attribute a lot of his growth to this focus on delight. Again, not a new concept. So I mentioned the 3 things it does. So first of all, we're going to talk about engagement. So it boosts initial engagement. What I mean here is when in business every day, the other businesses we interact with, look, most of these interactions I wouldn't class as delightful. They're not necessarily bad. They're not amazing. But let's say somebody comes into your business for the first time ever. If you can make them smile, if you can make them enjoy that experience quite a lot, there's triggers in their brain that go off, yeah? Like it creates endorphins, and we like that experience, and we're more likely to spend longer talking to that person, or if you have an online product, longer playing around with that product. And so the chance that that person gains to the next step where they'll actually engage you in a sales conversation or use your product and get to the step you need to get to become successful, increase higher. Again, if we enjoy the experience, we're going to spend more time at it. The other thing is, over time, they are more likely to spend more money with you as well. Again, the longer they spend in there, especially product-wise, they will be less price sensitive because the enjoyment and the feeling they get around it will take I guess they kind of their head away from just thinking about figures and back into the product and experience. Secondly, we talk about some of these terms are going to be, I guess, kind of like I run a tech company, and so if you don't understand some of these, do let me know. But we call it retention, which means how long a customer will stay with you. So it's all well and good selling a customer once. That has, if you sell a $10 product, it's worth $10. If you can sell a $10 product every single month for the next 5 years, it's worth the math behind that. It's late in the day. Like, I'm not going to get into it. It's worth a lot more, put it that way. So we call it retention, yeah? Like how do you keep a customer coming back again and again and again? And so it increases what we call the lifetime value of a customer. So if I see a customer, I don't see a single $10 sale. I see $5,000 over the next 5 years. And if I can make that $5,000 $6,000, it helps me predict my business better, and I know that I'm going to get more money down the line. And obviously, in tech and product, this is a big thing that we focus on. Now, what will happen here, again, if you're creating endorphins in your customers' brains, they're going to want to come back. Because their brains are going to go, you know what? I know whenever I deal with Dave or whenever I use X product, it's enjoyable. It's actually the fun part of my day. Let's just see if I can go and do that some more. Another thing that is probably not as obvious is that we all have disgruntled customers. We all make mistakes. Like we do it all the time. You can have a customer who comes in and will rant and rave and ask their money back and kind of leave and they have a bad experience. Or you have customers who come in and say, hey, I noticed this little thing. Can we work this out? And if they already enjoy you, if they've already got a relationship with you, if they already know you, they're going to come in a positive mindset. And I don't know what the maths are behind it, but you can probably get away with 3 times as many mistakes as you would have done before because they come in a positive mindset to go and fix it. Which, if you're running a business, because again, it will happen, is amazing. And it makes dealing with dissatisfied customers much more enjoyable as well. And again, this leads to the fact that if they're enjoying you and they're interacting with you more, the chances are they'll give you more work, you'll win more projects, they'll use your product more and upgrade to different price points of platform. I call this don't be in the bucket of meh, because so as a business, we pay for a lot of services. I think I was looking the other day, I think we pay for 48 different suppliers. Yeah, on tech things, subscriptions, like accountants, everything else. And probably 42 of those sit in this bucket where I'm very happy with the product or the service, but I don't think about them that much. And they're in a bucket of tools, and I'll pull them out when I need them, and I'll put them back in the bucket. And it goes no further than that. As soon as a better product comes out, or a product comes out that's equal, but the person invests in me, invests in my time, I'm going to jump ship. And the worst bit for that company is they will never, ever see it coming. Because I will never complain because I'm happy with the service. I'm not a dissatisfied customer, but I just couldn't care. I am neutral. Do not be in that bucket. You want to be on the shelf as one of the prized tools that gets used. You want to have those relationships that they talk about and it's out in the open. Something, again, they enjoy coming back to and will talk about. Don't just be another tool, because you won't keep customers long enough. Good play on words, you saw that. Okay, so, and this is the main one, this is my favorite one, and this is what's worked for us, is it's an exponential growth engine. And it's possibly going to be the greatest one you ever have. Advertising, everything else aside, the advocacy part of Delight is huge. I'll come out to stats, but with us, we get, I think, 60% of all of our traffic and signups that we can track come through word of mouth. And as a result, we double the business every 4 months. And we have done since the beginning. And it's pretty much all comes down to word of mouth and advocacy, which comes off this Delight. Now, this chap, who I'm sure some of you know, Gary V, love him or hate him, he calls it the Ricky Henderson effect. So none of you might know who this guy is. I know who he is, really. He's an American baseball player. So he was pretty famous, but he tells a story of how when he was 8 years old, he was at his baseball game, and this guy left the field, and Gary was screaming in the front, and the guy looked up and winked at him, stopped, winked, and then walked off the field. And Gary said he was in an area with probably 50 other kids behind him, so he's probably winking at all the kids. But he said as a result of that, for the next 15 years, he collected all the baseball cards of this guy. He had all the posters, he went to all the games, he told all his friends, and now that Gary V is in front of millions and millions of people worldwide, he's talking about Ricky Henderson. So that people like me, and I couldn't care less about baseball, know who this guy is. And so this snowball effect of when you have this little moment of delight just stopping for a second, you have no idea how far it can go. So it says taking a moment to acknowledge another human being has dramatically more ROI than any internet expert understands. And again, this has always been the case. But it does feel like with everyone's move online, some of us, it's easy to lose sight of that now that we're not interacting with humans in person every single day. This is human characteristics matter. If someone takes time to acknowledge you, you're more inclined to agree with that person, you're more inclined to believe what they're saying, more inclined, and more importantly, you're inclined to basically buy whatever he or she is selling. So this is the human part of it. So interspersed in here, we talked to a lot of other companies. This is kind of a bit of a tech bias, but the big companies. Buffer, if you've never heard of them, they're a system where you can send out all your your images to Facebook and Twitter and everything else. Really awesome platform. If you don't use it, check it out. But they put this kind of at the heart of what they do. They send out very personal gifts, pizzas. We signed up, we chatted to them, they sent us all socks. I mean, it sounds silly, but it's kind of cool. But they've got this thing, and they mention it, and I've seen it in our business where it's anecdotal, but basically customers will back them who don't even use them because they believe in the mission and they believe in the team. And we, as starting from nothing, have had that in our business where people have gone, you know what? I just want you guys to make it. We'll keep paying you. Which when that happens, you just think that's kind of crazy. How does that happen? And they're like, look, I believe in where you're going. Your product's not quite there yet because you're early. I just want to be there for the ride. And when you see this happen, you know you're doing it right. And it will happen. For those of you who do like maths, again, I know it's late, a little experiment here. So this shows that if in the blue line, if 10% of your customers refer you, another customer, over time, the customer numbers you get from that growth are on the blue line. The orange line is if 20% of your customers go and refer you new customers. Because obviously every time they refer you a customer and that customer comes in, then 20% of those new customers will go and refer you again, and so on. So it becomes exponential very quickly. And you see, again, 1 in 10 customers versus 2 in 10 customers referring you business over these can be months or years makes an absolutely huge difference. So you might think just getting, again, 10 to 20% is nothing really, but the knock-on effects get bigger and bigger and bigger over time. So don't underestimate how much the small touches and small numbers really do impact. The other thing to this is that if someone does refer you a customer, they're more likely to convert to a customer because they trust referrals, 3 times greater than the industry average. They will stay with you longer, and their lifetime value, which I love, is again higher than your average customer. So the customers you get through referrals and this advocacy piece are a better quality of customer. They're already vetted. So if you ever get customers that come through referrals, spend more time on them because they're more likely to convert, they're more likely to stay with you, they're more likely to give you more money. Yeah? So it's a good kind of tip to think. Let's say with us, 56% of our traffic is through referrals, and that's basically how we grow our business. And it's the only way we've managed to grow exponentially is because of that. So the good news, and this is the point I was saying earlier, is competition is more fierce than ever. I think 98% of new businesses are SMEs. There's lower barriers to entry into business than there's ever been, ever. I mean, you can start a business in a day. It really doesn't take much. Doesn't mean you have the business expertise and experience, so don't underestimate that. But I think because everyone's gone let's go online, let's automate everything, there's actually an opportunity here to stand out. I think this also it's funny. You see businesses does anyone know what the average age of a successful high growth tech company is? The average age of the founders? Yeah, so it's 44 is the average age, yeah, of an exit. It is not 22. So you get your Facebooks, I get it, yeah. You get these ones that make the media because they're 20 years old. Most businesses that succeed are over 40, and it makes that person has to get to 40. Yeah, they've got a load of more experience. Yeah, and it's not necessarily the dev skills; it's the soft skills that get that success. It's understanding people, it's understanding relationships, it's understanding how to run teams successfully. It's understanding how to get backers and partnerships in. You have the best products in the world, but the whole attitude of build it and they will come does not work. So in fact, everything else is more important. So use those experiences if you understand people. Yeah, and obviously I can see that the average age here is not 19, you're going to have a better shot at it than anyone who is coming out of university. So these soft skills will be how you succeed. There's so many messages going out there that you need to stand out. And to be frankly honest, being authentic is the best way. It always has been, but a lot of people have lost sight of this and thought they can kind of try and shortcut that system. If you're one of the ones that doesn't, but still manages to scale it, then you're onto a winner. And always, always, always remember, this is what we say, is automate processes, not relationships. So everyone loves automation, but the whole point of automation is to free you up to focus on the things that matter, AKA relationships and customers. People have got this one way around where they go, we're going to automate all of our customer conversations. I'm like, what's the point of that? Like automate, the boring stuff, the accounting, the day-to-day, the funnels, and then invest your time in where it's going to get you payback and ROI, which is getting some people, building relationships, going above and beyond for those customers. That's what you should be doing. That's the whole point, yeah? It should release you to be more human. We're not machines. Yeah? Well, Simon is, but otherwise, the rest of us are definitely. Anyway, so we're going to do a little bit of a session. So I'm going to ask you to have a little bit of a think now again. I know it's the end of the day. We're going to give our brains one last little go before we finish up. We're going to go through 5 steps of how you and your business can do this. And by the way, this might not be for everyone. We're one end of the spectrum where for us it works outstandingly. I'm going to show you examples in each of these steps to kind of show you how others are doing it. But go through these steps, see if it makes sense for you, and see if it's something that you think will work. If anything, I just want you to leave this room just thinking about this as a possibility. Just a little bit of conscious thought is all it will take. So step 1. So this is a bit where you're going to need some paper and pens. So what we're going to do, I'm going to spend maybe 3 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes. I would like you guys to identify your customer touch points. So map their journeys on a piece of paper and look for, you don't have to come up with the ideas right now, just look for the moments when you could inject delight and a personal touch. So just a couple minutes, write down, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some on this board here. So I'm going to get each person, each table, give me a couple of touch points. And think, by the way, this is your entire lifetime of your customers, not just the day you meet them, but what happens at year 3? What happens at events? What happens at trade shows? What happens when you bump into them in the coffee store? What happens on the phone? So think, just map out your touch points of when you could be thinking better about how to talk to customers. Woo! Feel free to talk amongst yourselves and bounce ideas around if it's hard. Okay. How's everyone going? If it helps, think about the life cycle of the customer. Think, from when you first meet them down to, to 10 years, which obviously you want to keep customers for. I'm going to start putting some up, so keep going, but is anyone brave enough to shout out first? Yep. So door to door, as in turning up. Yep. I'm going to put physical here, because there's online delivery and there's physical delivery as well, just to differentiate. Okay, what else we got? Birthdays. Yes. Come on, don't be shy. It's almost over. Trade shows, yeah. Trade shows. Yeah. Yeah. So does that fit in with physical delivery, like that moment? Yeah, so we'll just want to start here. What we're doing, we're going to come back to think about some ideas about what we could do at these points. Okay. Emails, obviously. We had a couple over here. Sorry? Yep. Definitely email. Do you ever do we do phone calls as well? Or not? Or I'll put follow-ups. I'm going to put phone, obviously, here. Yep. Is that in person, online, on the phone, in email, in snail mail? Yeah. Yeah. Great. Yeah. 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 Yeah, and that's almost that's during the experience. Maybe we call it like the experience itself. I mean, you talk about like delivery, like are there dockets on the packages that they get and they take off with it with an invoice in? Yeah, so again, and this is when you've gone away and you've delivered the package, they then, on their own, open it up and that's another touch point. You're not there, yeah? So just trying to think, like, it's literally every single time the customer is going to touch your brand in some way. When they book the delivery online, when they have a support question and they go to your help site, you know, there's a lot more than you possibly think here. It's literally every single time they're going to interact with you or touch your brand in some kind of way or touch one of your team members. Yes, invoices, payment forms, ads. Was that? Signage, yeah. Was that on? Yep, showrooms, yeah. I mean, showrooms probably got 100 just in that one experience. You know, when they walk in to first interaction with a team member, to when they pay there, when they book there, to when they leave, the car park before they even get in there. I mean, I get you have potential to own the experience far earlier and probably far later than you realize. A lot of people will just think about, I'll own it at the sale, and that's it. So the reality is, the longer you own that experience and the more you do it into your brand, the more they'll buy in, the more likely of a sale, and then word of mouth, and then, again, just think about the whole experience they have with you. It's not just when they hand the money over and go, or when they get the product. So, yep. Anniversaries. Yeah, anniversaries is a big one. Yeah. And that's one that gets missed a lot. So one of the biggest things we do, one of the biggest mistakes we make in business is, and everyone does this, and even we, it's still hard for us to break away from it, is you always focus on the new sales. You're like, new in the door is great, yeah? Now, it's 7 times more cost effective to grow your existing customers per dollar that you get back than it is to go and get a new customer. So the fastest way to grow any business is to get $1 extra off all your customers, or double the sales of all your existing customers. It's far cheaper and it's far easier to do than going and getting a new customer. But as humans, we are naturally, we like the shiny and the new, and so we always think top of funnel. The reality is, like the best business in the world, double their business overnight. I've got an example. There's a system called Intercom. It's an online platform, and they released a new product, but they just sent it to all their existing customers, and they were making $6 million a year in 4 weeks. And they didn't sell it to a single new customer. It went purely to their existing customers. So new product, existing customers, boom. And that was like 15% of their revenue in 4 weeks. They'd taken the previous 8 years to build. Yeah? And the cost of that was an email going out to all their lists for free. Yeah, so again, like anniversaries, if you're not thinking about how to retain your existing customers and to get them back in again on a systemized, like regular basis, like you're making mistakes straight away. So like, we'll come back to this. I mean, I can go on forever here, but I think the point here is to think, again, outside the box. It's not just about, like I say, it is the payment forms, it is the notes, it's the doormat before you come in. Like every single part of that, these are all parts of your experience with the customer that you own that are unique to you, that you can do something to change and make better and go above and beyond for those customers that your competitors just won't think about. Come back. Whoop. Okay. So now, some of you will have this down pat, some of you will be working on it, some of you maybe haven't started to think about this yet, but this is really important, yeah. So to define your values, your brand, and your tone of voice, because this should help dictate how you communicate and what you do in these moments with customers. Now, obviously, you can't have, like the bear suits, yeah? They work for us. If you're, I know one chap I was talking about, you do architectural work, you probably can't turn up in bear suits to your clients, because like, who are these clowns, yeah? But the same thing, I couldn't be standing here in a suit talking about delight, the suit and tie and polo shoes. So it needs to work with your brand. Now, getting your brand and your values down is hard. It's a long process. Sometimes it takes a few years. I'm not going to talk too much about this right now. If you want to talk about brand, happy to talk later. Like I'm a massive proponent. Like we do a lot. It's really important to your business. It helps clarify the future massively and helps you stand out. But what I will do is show you a couple of examples. I think this is more one just to think about over time. So there's a company called Patreon, who are like a Kickstarter, but they're for musicians and stuff. Just raised $60 million US, a couple of years old. Chatted to the founder, and he said, look, at the end of the day, the number one value is they always ask themselves, what's best for creators? And creators are musicians and artists who are their customers. And everything the company does starts with that question. And the founder was a musician who started a YouTube channel, and it started to go, and then he built this thing. So it's funny because he actually created himself, but because of that value, it explains why they've been so successful. That's the heart of every conversation they have, and so nothing gets built without that, nothing gets said without that. And so again, most of their clients come through referral because they talk as their customers do. Now, this isn't always the case. If you're a consultant, you should be a level above your customers in terms of professionalism. I remember a friend at McKinsey was saying that the law was, with them, it was always dressed one level above your customer. So if they were dealing with guys like me in shorts and t-shirt, they'd wear jeans and t-shirt. If they were dealing with a CFO, they'd wear a slightly more expensive suit. But they were like, you can never distance yourself too much, yeah? And they're very successful, and they kind of understood this part. That made sense for them. With us, we have to mimic our customers. I have to wear t-shirts, and I remember going to Silicon Valley and turning up in a shirt and tie once, and no one would talk to me. Everyone was like, look at this guy, fresh off the boat. Leave him alone, yeah? And so again, like match the brand and the conversation you need to have. So the one thing we have is one of our values, we have 7, is treat everyone equal. This is team, this is customers, this is shareholders. Everyone gets treated the same. Like, I don't care where you're from. And there's a really good story. So our most influential customer ever, you may or may not know this guy. So we do this thing where everyone who signs up to our platform, we send them a video. I'll be like, hey, John, I see you run this veterinary hospital. Welcome on board. Here we are on the Sydney team, blah, blah, blah. And we do the same process where we'll take a minute to welcome every single customer that signs up to Bonjour. Don't care if you pay or not, yeah? And one day, this guy called Pat Flynn signed up, who, if you don't know him, turns out the guy's pretty effing famous. I'd never heard of him at all. He's American. He signs up. I'm like, hey, Pat, welcome on board. Great to have you with us, everything else, yeah? And he gets back. He's like, oh, great, Pat. I really like the fact you did that for us, whatever else, yeah? And then about 2 months later, I'm sitting in the office, and suddenly our servers start to go crazy. And all these signs just come rushing into the platform, I think the site goes down for 30 seconds, and everyone's like, what is happening? And then people are like, oh, we're at this, this event called Social Media Marketing World in America. It's this huge event. And this guy who is the main speaker has just mentioned you guys and showed you on stage in the keynote speech. And it's a guy called Pat Flynn. And everyone in the entire audience goes and signs up to Bonjour. I'm like, who is this guy? And everyone's like, it's Pat Flynn. Like, how do you not know who he is? And I was like, I don't know. And so he talks to me, and he's like, I don't know you guys didn't know who I was. He's like, normally everyone, if I start something, everyone's like, oh, please, sir. And we just treat him like normal. And so he went the same process that any of our customers went through, and just so happened he happened to be this guy. And this has happened now multiple times because most of our customers are in the States, and we're not across that, I guess. But it shows you, for us, because you everyone equal, we will have the same conversation with anyone who comes in. And it means that we'll lose customers as well. People come in, they'll be like, you guys are way too playful for our brand. And I'm like, that's fine, yeah, you're not one of our customers. That's okay as well. We know who our customer is. We treat them the same. And so these things would never have happened if we hadn't had that value so core into my team. But this is how they talk to customers. Another one, so Netflix do this. They have freedom is one of their core values. And so that extends into support. So this one went kind of famous a little while ago where it's just a common support engineering question they were doing. And this is the kind of stuff, and Netflix are a corporate, they're not a startup, they're a big, big company, but they allow their customers, their service teams to talk like this and kind of behave like this. And then what happens is, this goes and gets shared online, everyone thinks this is great, Netflix's brand goes up in the world, and more people pour into the funnel. Again, they do this on a daily basis, but sometimes it just creates word of mouth, yeah? Sometimes you never know if it might go viral. Again, but this is because they tell their team, you've got freedom to talk how you want. And they trust their teams to do that, Banks would never do that. They don't trust anyone, including their own team. This company I will talk about a bit, called Design Pickle. Really good company if you want to see how a company does delight well. These guys are probably one of the best examples I know. They run like a flat fee design service. But their thing is the three of their values like friendliness, truth, and excellence to service. And so they do all these public ask me anythings, where they just will jump online and be like, ask us anything, and they're brutally honest. Some people some people will call them out on things, and they'll be like, yeah, we messed up. Sorry. Yeah, and this is why, and they'll explain it. And they'll obviously bring their brand and their attitude into it. Yeah, and the whole point is friendliness as the part of this, and they only hire on these terms as well, so it makes it much easier. But again, extremely successful company. I think they're doing maybe $8 million a year, and they're maybe 3 years old because of this. So the companies who tend to have this at the heart of what they do grow faster than any other company I've seen. And that genuine part of it really, really does help. So when you think about these moments and what you're going to do, look at each one. And this will take as long as to do now, I'll still do it afterwards. But look at each one and go, given our brand, given our values, given our customers, how should we behave at each of these points? And keep that consistent as well. So don't be completely professional at this point and then be unprofessional at this point. Keep it the same throughout. Easy enough for me to say because we wear base suits and we don't have to be professional at all. So we just joke around the whole time. So this is one we're going to have a go at as well. This is harder. Is we're going to think about. I want you to specifically think about maybe 1 or 2 touch points where you're just doing something generic. So probably a good example is when someone signs up, you might send them an email drip campaign that might just be an email drip campaign that everyone in the world gets. It might be what happens when they click on your ad. It might be when they first come in the showroom. Are you just saying, welcome, can I help you? And they say no, and then you walk away. What could you do different at one of these touch points where you could do better? And you all have these, yeah. We have touch points where we're always we'll look at the good ones and be like, these good. There's these other 53 that need work. So just spend a couple minutes and again talk amongst yourselves. Have a little think about what you could do, and then what I'll do is I'll show you a couple of examples, but I'm going to do it afterwards because I want you guys to stay fresh and do something that's unique to you, and then I'll like a couple of you to talk about what you think you might do at that point. Let's take a couple minutes. Steve's going to come in and help you. Maybe. It's time to get creative. Last creative brain bit of the whole day, I promise. Yeah? You got any ideas? So, keep going. So, has anybody had a thought? If you can give me a touch point you think you can do better, and then an idea of what you could do repeatedly at that touch point. Come on, someone. Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's it. Perfect. So then think around that and go, okay, so one, like, then think, okay, right, to make it slightly better, yeah, how do you make it a bit more personal? It could be champagne with, like, thanks, Dave. Like, how do you get their name in there? Like names are very powerful. There's a mental thing, it's called the cocktail party effect, that, you're in a room, everyone's talking, and then you hear someone say your name, and you just shut out everything else, and you're like, hello? And then you can hear your name come in, yeah? So if you can say someone's name, it's extremely powerful. Just think about that as well. Right, who next? Yep.
Newsletters.
I heard you.
Yeah, just like we've got an email list, but we haven't sent anything out. But yeah, try and make it something like interesting and something people look forward to reading every month, and playful, and yeah, something different.
Make it about them, not you. Yeah. And so there's another thing, like transparency in business is wonderful. Give away everything, and you'll only get back. So we'll do this where we'll talk about like our inner business workings. Everyone's like, oh, but your competitors can hear that. And I'm like, so what? They can't copy it because they're not us. And they're the kind of people who would never talk about it, yeah? So we'll just, we'll let it out anyway. And customers come into that funnel. So this is the whole genuine thing. Be genuine and honest. And again, if you can make it personal and different to what a competitor might do, then just think about adding that flavor to it. And again, it's about them, not you. Yeah. Behind you.
Matthew, it's been great, buddy. This was more Simon's suggestion on my product. I run a seminar called Unlocking Your Inner Alpha for men, businessmen. And he said when you send them an email, you should have maybe Tarzan swinging from it and then their name coming up going, can't wait to see you at the seminar.
That's it, yeah. Or you dressed as Tarzan.
Well, not me.
Yeah. So what was your name? So with the delivery, you saying? David? Because you were saying earlier on about the kids thing. So, which is great. That's like, kids are the way of the heart, yeah? Like, have you ever thought about, like, you give your drivers and everyone, like, small presents wrapped up, and if there happen to be kids there, then they give it away.
Yeah.
Like, no one would ever expect that. Like delivery drivers, like, when I've had them, they just dump the stuff, they're like, oh, see you later, mate, and they're gone. Yeah, and like I'm like due my first child in January, yeah, so it's going to change everything. And you think, if someone did that for you, you would tell people. No one does this, like no one, yeah? And the cost to you would be cents, I'll come on to how to implement, but again, like this is something that all your drivers do is just a part of work. Maybe you have another gift if it's, the mum or something else. You have like 4 gifts and you've got to pick up the right one for the right person. Oh, I just happen to have this on me, Anyone else? You have? Yeah. Yeah. But, so I think it doesn't have to be a wife, it could be anyone on the team who happens to be in the area. It could be, like, scale is relative as well. You don't have to think about how we do it a million times. How do we just ensure that at the beginning, like, so at this point when I said, like, it appears spontaneous, you just have a system that, on every 4th day of every customer, you're going to drop something off. And it's a done thing. They're like, and they don't know it's coming, so it's unexpected, but it's just part of your process. This is a birthday thing that Steve said. People don't know you're gonna celebrate their birthday, but on their birthday, there you go, and they're like, oh, wow. But your CRM, Entreport, whatever, just tells you, hey, it's the birthday coming in 3 days, you should do something. So get it going first, scale. Often don't need to think about, you don't need to think about how to do it for 1 million customers at day one, Just do it for the customers you have. And if it works, you'll work out how to scale it. If it works. If it doesn't work, you'll drop it, But if it works, figure that out afterwards. Airtasker. Use Airtasker, send them around, $10, they'll drop me off. Yeah.
I got a stop smoking business, and I just thought I could send them out an old-fashioned certificate when they complete the program. And I think that they'd be really proud of that.
Yeah.
So some of them would hide it because they don't want people to even know that they ever did smoke, but then the others will put it on the wall Some of them post it on Facebook.
Yep.
Might even put it in the frame.
Yeah.
But just a really authentic, old-fashioned paper with their name and everything, kind of calligraphy.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, the perfect, yeah. I mean, that's it. Like, again, like the impression of you putting in time and effort and doing something unique.
Because it's after they've paid and after they've finished, they don't actually expect to hear from you.
Yeah, but they will tell people, yeah. So when they meet someone else who's like, I'm trying to quit, they go, oh, go see. So what was your name?
Michael.
Michael, go see Michael. Yeah, that's what you're after, yeah. And you won't know it's happening until they come in. Yeah, but you want them to talk about it because if they get up smoking, they will know the smoke. Like referral is going to be huge for you. So how do you just stay top of mind? You know, you could. I mean, the year later thing, like they may be past customers, but a year later you say, hey, congrats on still being. You know, it's a year since you quit. How do you feel? You know, just congrats. How do you feel?
Yeah, and that'd be good for like getting testimonials and things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, check in a year and just say, I just wanted to say well done. You don't have to mean anything from it. You can just say that. You can just thank customers. Yeah, you don't have to have a secondary reason, and it'll make them feel good. It'll make you feel good as well. You know, because you realize that you help people and you can't see the effects on. And yeah,
that's so true because it actually affects their whole family.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Again, so this is something. Keep thinking over. Like, I'll give Steve this presentation and send him out afterwards, so you can come back to this and refer to it, and obviously talk to us as well. So here's an example. So we do a lot of online. So we use automation, yeah. So we automate messaging to customers. But what we do, because we have drip campaigns that go out, some online, some in emails, we put in. They wouldn't tell this, but we basically put in GIFs of every single one person in my team doing a little twirl or doing a little like thumbs up in their bear suits. And so the reason behind this is that you get this thing where you almost like look forward to the next message because it's like, well, who am I going to meet next? It introduces every single member of my team. So what happens is, Grant in the first one, when they come in with a question of support, Grant or Taylor or Amy will reply, and they'll be like, oh, hey, Amy, you're the purple bear. And she's like, yeah, that's me. And so saying they feel like they kind of always, like, it's like collect them all, yeah? Like they can't know the family. And again, it fits our brand, but we're like, look, it means that every single message is actually consistent. You get these little surprises that you almost can't know is there and it's going to come, and it means that when they talk to you, they're like, you're that person. And we're like, yeah, that's actually me. Yeah, there's no robots here. So that's one way that we do it. It's just something that happens every single day, and we just thought, how can we make this mundane thing that everyone in the world now does a bit more on brand? Design Pickle, I'll talk to you again. These guys, this is the founder. These guys are hilarious. So they have people, they do their subscriptions, and they have these big deals, and they did this thing where they had all these annual subscriptions that ticked over on the second year. So the guy's name is Russ Perry. He's a bit of a character. He went on and he did, I think, 100 videos to each customer in a day, rapping their business. And the guy is as white as anything, he can't rap at all. And he'd be like, hey, Joanne, tell me your plan. And he does that often. And they tell them, but they got shared all over Twitter everywhere. And everyone was like, this is hilarious. Like, again, it was the anniversary thing, yeah, but he just made it so funny that everyone's like, I know why I use you guys. And it's the founder as well. Yeah, like it's the guy at the top. So again, remember this checklist, yeah? Come back to it every time. This is, if you decide to do this, if it decides to be, again, and this is more of an ethos, yeah? The whole delight thing is just, it's a focus on doing it, yeah? Make it official within your team if you have a team. Or if you have the two of you, be like, this is a thing that we should do and we should think about. Like culture in business, it doesn't just work. Like I'm a massive fan of culture and getting the right culture to go. You have to consistently work about it and consistently think about it and think, what culture do I want to grow? And then work to make it better. And it's incredibly hard to do. Anything you drive in business is the same. If you push it top down, it will start to work. But you have to be a champion. The leaders have to really take a role in how they do this. Yeah, and there's a number of ways you can do this. The way we do it, so Amy is our youngest team member. We call her our Chief Delight Officer, also known as our Chief Distraction Officer. She, despite being the youngest member of the team, is by far the funniest. If you ever come into Bonjour, you will end up talking to her at some point. And she has this official role, so it means that what she will do is she'll pull up everyone on the team, me, my CTO, management, if we're not thinking about delight enough. If we answer a customer question, she's like, you can put a smiley face at the end. It sounds like a stupid thing, but that's how again, consistency of communication. We'll do something, and she's like, just flagging, you're obviously a bit off today, but you should have been a bit more positive on the messages here. I've seen you write this article, and it's it's great, but it needs X, Y, Z. So she'll make sure that my team is doing this, and she has power over every single person, despite being the youngest person on the team. So the whole team knows that delight is a thing. We have someone with a job title. It's not going away. Design pickle again, just love these guys. Starts with the CEO. Like I said, he will drive this and do it himself. You know, he will run around in the pickle suit and then give it to his team and be like, you guys could do this. But then what happens is their management, like Alex Guerrera, will all then do the same thing off him and drive it down lower. And then their team leaders will then drive it down to their team. So it actually goes to the hierarchy, and they have a specific thing in place where, you know, in their words, they just want to delight every customer. And the main reason they do it is so when these things go wrong, their customers come in positive and they don't churn. They don't leave them, yeah? That's actually the number one benefit they see from it. Yeah, because things do go wrong and they make mistakes and it's hard running a business. People come in, they're like, hey, this wasn't quite right, can you help me out? But again, top down, driven down, at team meetings, at retreats, it's a thing the company does regularly. But this goes to anything in business. You know, if you want your team to do something, drive it, make it a thing, otherwise it'll often just fizzle out. So Zapier, I'm guessing most people here know who they are. If you ever tried to plug any two pieces of technology together, they're the guys who sit in the middle. Completely remote team, pretty awesome. Like if you ever read about them, they don't have an office. Their team all around the world from day one. They like for an American company, they raised I think $1 million many years ago, and now they're doing like $100 million. I think they have 2 million customers. So in terms of America, they basically raised nothing, and they built because people just started paying them on day one. But they have an awesome team. If you ever talk to them or ever ask them questions, they are really, really helpful. And they have this thing where basically their entire team goes on call with customers. So you can ask a question about the smallest thing, and the CEO might reply to you. And it does two things here. Like obviously, people don't expect that. So when the all hands thing is happening, they're like, the CTO of Zapier just got back to me on, why this button wasn't working. And they're like, didn't expect that. But it also means that they're always in front of customers. So in terms of a company and a culture, everyone gets experience with customers firsthand, no matter where they sit in the business. So they build better products because of it. They're more empathetic because of it. And again, it's why they're so successful as a company. So step 5 is like try it, test it, measure it, share it, both internally and externally. So if it works, share it with the team, show them. If it doesn't work, share it with them and show them that we're not going to do this. Scale it when it works, obviously, and then start again. Now, like coming from a tech background and a product background, like this is how we live or die. You have to move quick. You have to test stuff. And so, out of every 10 things you do, 2 might work. If you don't do 10, you're never going to find those 2. Don't just build up to one great thing and do it and be like, that's it. And if it doesn't work, then turn away and never try again. Just try stuff, yeah? It costs nothing, yeah? Like giving the gifts away. Try it for 2 weeks. If it didn't make any difference, then drop it. Try something else. Not everything you think is going to be the best idea. And some of the things you don't think are a good idea might be the best idea. So just keep trying. In terms of measuring different ways to do this, actually, I'll come out to that, but there's one thing, if anyone here ever ends up using Slack, I'll talk about sharing internally. We use Slack a lot in our team. When anyone gets good feedback, we're like, post it up so the whole team can see it. There's loads of integrations. You have things where you just send your email off and it comes in. Like all the good feedback you get from customers, show the whole team. If your drivers get like great feedback, yeah, they should just write an email and go, hey, this is what customers said to me today. Let's do more of this. Because when stuff works, it's extremely positively, like positive reinforcement is awesome. It shows stuff works, it gets the team back on track with it, and it'll encourage, when there's one guy in the company getting all the great praise, other people in the company are going to be like, I want some of that, and they're going to go and do it. So again, and celebrate when if you ever hear the word love of a customer, I love you guys, you need to show everyone, because that's the ultimate word you're looking for. I was thinking ways to measure, so a few ways you can do this. There's many different ways. It's not the easiest thing. Net Promoter Score. Look, some people love it, some people hate it. It's basically the score that says, would you recommend this to someone else? It's a good indicator of, if customers are recommending you more, more likely to recommend you more or less. It's more useful as a baseline. Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Like the whole slide I showed at the beginning with the 10% of customers will refer us versus 20%. See if you can get your NPS from 10 to 20% and realize it's going to have an impact. Banks generally have negative Net Promoter Scores because no one recommends them. Whereas I think the average for SMEs is maybe 30 out of 100. So anything above 30, you're doing really well. Google Analytics obviously track if you're getting traffic from referrals, if people are talking about you, if you can track that. I'll obviously talk to Alana about that, not me. If you have your CRM, like look at what's happening, look at what's coming through, look at how the conversion funnels are going. Easy with products, but look at the level of engagement. Are people having more conversations with you? Are they staying in your product longer? Are they staying on your website longer? Is that working when you change things? And talk to people. Like qualitative feedback is great. When people come into your funnel, ask them where they came from. And if it's referrals and you start to hear the word referral more, or word of mouth, or someone told me, you know that something's working and try and figure out what that was that you changed. And then ultimately growth. The thing about Delight is it's not going to, tomorrow you're not going to do click a button and it'll go. But very few things in business will work that way. Very, very few, yeah? Like even if you're doing ads, it's a learning process to get better and better and better over time. This is the same thing. But give it a 3-month window, look back and say, did we get more referrals this month than last month? Did we get more word of mouth? Was there more stuff that we just couldn't track? So a lot of stuff, the traffic that comes to our website is direct traffic. So people will type in www.bonjoro.com and come in. So I'm like, well, they haven't come from ads. The only place they could have come from is if someone's told them and they've gone direct to our website. So we know that's word of mouth. So all the untrackable stuff is in this space. There's a sixth one, which is like have fun. Yeah, this is a creative process. It's really, really rewarding. Again, I don't know why you guys do business. I do it because I love the game. I don't do it because of money. And when a customer turns around and they say, I love what you do. This is amazing. You've helped me X, Y, Z. Like it really makes me feel good. And that's why I get up in the morning, because you're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Like, how do you get up in 10 years' time? If the only reason is money, you're going to burn out before you get there. So this is a fun process, yeah? It's enjoyable. It's actually one of the best things to do in business is to make customers love you, yeah? And they deserve more, yeah, from so many of us. But the good thing is, not everyone in the world thinks this way. So this Pat Flynn guy, number one goal should always be to delight customer through your product, yes, but even more through their experience with you and your brand. So it's more about you and the team. And I've put a picture of Barista here, because this is probably my favorite example of delight. So I work in the city in Sydney. There's 4 or 5 good baristas around me. I'm not from Melbourne, like good enough coffee is good enough coffee. The one I go to is because the guy's hilarious. So I go in the morning, like him and all the staff know my name, and the guy is a born comedian. And I think the coffee's slightly better at one of the other ones, but I won't go there because for me the product is probably 30%. The experience of this guy giving me some joy in the morning, waking me up for a long day in the city, is worth more to me than anything. And he does it to every single person that comes in. He must know 2,000 people's names. And I don't know if he has the same joke he tells everyone every day, but he's got new jokes every day. He does it instinctively. And so you talk about scale and delight. These are the guys that do it. So if you have a good barista, you can learn so much from them. And they're anchored in the real world. And they're not anchored online. That's one of the big differences. They have to do it or they go out of business. So look for real examples and look at how you bring it online. But it doesn't take a lot. A lot of it comes down to just conscious thought. And this guy's thinking, I'm going to have fun today. I'll show you one more thing. Okay, so any questions? I'm around, Simon's around. Simon, let's say, is based down here in the Gong. Take our emails. Hit us up anytime. Any thoughts you have, we're always around. We might not get back straight away, but we'll get back very, very soon. Please do use us as a resource. Any advice? I'm going to show you one video. So just to show you, the whole delight thing is not just for people in T-shirts. It's one of our customers. They're called Announcer. They're a wealth management company. They're very serious. They all wear suits and ties. And they use us, and they send videos to their customers saying thank you. And hopefully, boy, there is a swear word in this. I hope everyone's okay with that. It's worth it. Let's see. Oh, no internet. Hang on. If I could just dance or something. One way. It's worth the wait.
So where can everybody download Bonjoro?
If you want to try Bonjoro out, go to the website. A couple weeks, use it. It might be for you, it might not. If you decide you want to use it and there's a paid plan, just email me and we'll give you a discount. Mention this chap's name and we'll help you guys out. But more importantly, just think about delight and what will work for your business. If this goes super slow, I might just email it out to you afterwards. here we are. Fingers crossed. Okay. Got volume? Hang on. Nope. If it doesn't work, oh, this is my big ending. This is it. It's going to get awkward now. I'm just going to walk off.
Can I download?
Just share that link. Share that link. Gotta have you all in one. Oh well, let's end on an awkward note then. We have the power. Would that work? No, because the video will play if the volume comes out of the computer. We should try that. Can we try that?
That's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
Okay. Let's try it.
Okay, hang on. I'll just see if this...
See, I knew you were creative. It's good. It's good. Which one is it, this little guy? Where's your mic? Okay. So just yeah. Well, you know what? I'll do a voiceover. Okay. Here we go. I can't do him. He goes, "Hey, Jimmy, just want to say thanks for the referral. Means a lot to me. Smash the whole coffee cup." And he goes, "Oh, what are the fucking chances?" And then he walks off, and this is the CEO of like a 400-person company. He walks off and goes, what are the fucking chances? Everyone's laughing. And he goes, "Anyway, thanks for the referral. Amazing job. Sensible business. We love you guys. Just want to say thanks." Whey. And then he's like, had like 100 views next day. You know, and this is, again, like suit and tie, professional. His clients are like Rain and Horn and like big CEOs. And this is the stuff they love. Yeah, so he looks good, but he's got a personality. So again, just think outside the box. Say thank you. Take this little bit of time, and the best companies in the world build their businesses this way. Thanks.
Awesome. Big round of applause.
Done.